A-M-I-C-K-E-Y-A, so A fuck.
Were you trying to spell Mickey Mouse?
No.
Hey, I'm Mick.
And I'm Stephanie.
And you're watching the Polyvlog.
Today we're coming to you live from the A-M-I-C-K-E-Y-H-O-U-S-E.
Welcome to the Mickey House Club. I don't know.
It's a great club to be in.
Hey, we get coffee. That's the good news. So today is Q&A Thursday, which means we're gonna be. Okay, we're gonna do a dance. Okay, Q&A Thursday. Yes, you get us dancing if you submit some questions. There you go. We will make fools of ourselves for you if that's what it takes to get your views.
That was really bad to say.
It was terrible to say. Every episode we ask you to go ahead and leave any questions and comments below our videos. We're going to ask you to do that again today.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be answering a couple of questions we've been able to take in the last few days.
Mm-hmm. Today's first question comes from Pal R. McClellan. And they ask, question, how do you navigate being a poly parent in a society that makes parenting difficult already? Do you and your edit or rein in certain behaviors like PDA around the child? I'm assuming that this question's for you because...
Well, with regards to my polywog, that's the common name we're going to be giving my daughter. She's been raised in a poly environment her whole life. For as long as she can remember, there has been multiple intimate relationships going on around her. She has actually addressed the question, but with regards to PDA, we keep it at a public display level only. Only what's acceptable inside of public. Keeping it at hugs, small tokens of affection, and maybe even the occasional peck kiss. But other than that, no, we don't really show her too much in the way of adults showing too much affection to one another.
Right. I think you and I, we hold hands?
Yeah, you'll see us occasionally hold hands, or maybe even cuddle on the couch during a movie, but that's
about it.
That's about it.
And she comes and cuddles with us and holds hands with us.
Yeah, well, we have a very affectionate household, so.
The next part of her question is, did you have the talk, or are you just living by example?
In my observation about my daughter especially, but kids in general, they tend to be very understanding and accepting about adult living situations without questioning whether or not it's normal, so long as the adults involved don't act like they're shying away from it or hiding anything.
Right.
So, while my daughter's been immersed in this environment her whole life, in the last few years, she has sought to say, isn't this a little bit different than everything else that I see? And she sees her friends' parents, and she sees other family members in a monogamous household operating a little differently than we do. And we simply tell her that we're in a loving environment, that yes, not everybody takes part in this kind of lifestyle, but that doesn't mean that we are weird or strange. It just means that we're a little bit different. But we've operated on a need-to-know basis, so we don't get into too much detail. But she knows that there's multiple people in her household that are in a relationship, and that I have multiple relationships with multiple people. But everybody in her life is there for her, and that's the important part.
I did actually have to have the talk with two of my children. Two of my children are adults, and they know about our relationship, and I had to let them know. Their biggest concern was that their father and I was going to get a divorce, and we just had to reassure them that that was not the case. They actually handled it fine. They said, well, it's your life, and as long as you're happy.
Well, the big difference between my household and raising the polywog versus your household with your children is that my daughter has been exposed to a polyamorous lifestyle right in front of her from the time she was born, whereas you and CB have transitioned into a polyamorous lifestyle. So everything for your children looks a little bit
different.
A little different, yeah, and so therefore you guys are very don't ask, don't tell as far as the kids go.
Yeah.
Right.
This is still part of the same question.
That's a long question.
A three-part question.
Okay.
How do you explain, or do you explain to teachers or other outside adults in your child's life what's going on?
Believe it or not, it doesn't come up that much.
No?
No, it doesn't. With the way that things are today, it's not uncommon for parent-teacher conferences to be attended by broken families, divorcees. So when I show up to a conference, it doesn't look all that strange. And most of the time people are a little embarrassed to ask anyway. But we operate under just a discretionary, don't say anything more than you have to kind of feel. Now when it comes to Pollywog's performances with, she's in chorus and she's in band and she has a lot of things going on. It's not uncommon to see blended families, non-nuclear household, extra aunts and uncles or grandparents live with you. So oftentimes when 7 or 8 of us attend one of her events, it's not looked at as uncommon.
Right.
And we have another question. This one is from Melanie. She writes, can you do a blog about the differences of a poly relationship versus an open relationship? Well, this one's kind of fun in that we're going to use a graphic with this question.
So we have open relationships, swinging, polyfidelity, and polyamory.
Right.
So why don't we start with open relationships?
Okay. A monogamous couple can begin with an open relationship by determining one or both will agree to a non-exclusivity of their sexual terms at the very minimum. This can take forms of don't ask, don't tell policies between couples. I've seen another couple had an open relationship where once every few weeks they had an open date night where they both just went out as singles.
Another type of open relationship would be having a friend with benefits.
Friends with benefits is actually very common. Nothing more than a buddy who you use on the side to...
change your face.
Exactly. The next form would be swinging. Now swinging is similar to being in an open relationship, but this is often characterized by people participating in a formalized event or some sort of meetup.
Yeah, like parties, clubs.
Events, meetups at bars, things like that.
But typically in a swinging situation, it's not actually swapping. Pretty much everybody's just playing with whoever they want to play with.
But swinging often denotes, and I think I know where you're going with that, swinging often denotes that the couple is playing, both of them are participating.
Right.
Open relationships can only have one partner who goes outside the marriage, but swinging tends to denote that both couples are participating. Now polyfidelity is interesting in that it has multiple partners, and this is where everything gets a little bit more intimate with emotions. Polyfidelity involves people who are getting into emotionally committed relationships outside of their primary pair. They're defining the relationships with multiple people, but they're exclusive sexually to just the people inside of their group. Oftentimes this is done to prevent spreading STIs or risk of pregnancy.
So would you say that if you had like 3 people in a relationship, that they're exclusive to those 3 people and they don't go outside?
So if you're picturing like a triad?
Yeah.
If they were sexually exclusive with just the one person was sexually exclusive with just the other 2, that would be, yes, that's a form of polyfidelity. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. An individual inside of a larger group can be polyfidelitous as an individual description and not have partners who are also polyfidelitous.
Okay.
And lastly, there is our most favorite word, polyamory. And this denotes the existence of multiple established relationships, often long-term, but not always, and each with their own emotional and sexual rules confined based onto the individuals involved. This has no expectation of any kind of fidelity or any kind of exclusivity except for what the participants actually decide for themselves. To answer the question, the main difference between poly relationships and open relationships would be, while not every open relationship is polyamorous, every polyamorous relationship is at least in part open.
Right.
So there you go. Guys, if you guys have any more questions for us, please leave them in the comments below. We will do our best to respond to them as they come in with our own comments, but we do enjoy taking these Q&A sessions. It gives us a chance to sit down for a little bit and drink some coffee.
And if you want to keep your question anonymous, just shoot us a message on Facebook. I enjoy doing the questions and answers.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I enjoy the banter and it gives us a chance to be a little bit more informalized. So I guess that pretty much takes care of this for today, huh?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, if this is your first time watching the Poly Vlog, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. And if you'd like to see more, just go ahead and click the link up over our heads here and see more videos.
Check the description box below for links to our website, Facebook, and Twitter. And then head over to Facebook and follow us there.
Absolutely. And until next time,
Love abundantly.
love abundantly.